All right, guys, we're on to rule two. Pre-show, a couple notes real quick. Want to make these a little more concise, a little shorter. I kind of want them to be punchier, and I don't want people to have to invest so much to get through them. I might have like longer versions later, or a summary version. I'm not going to cut it. If I cut it in half, I might cut it down to like 10 minutes. So hopefully a little sharper here. All right, so I've chosen. Trying to choose games that I never put up on the channel, but it had like huge experiences with. So today, Monster Hunter World pre-expansion. So just full screen that up or whatever. So this is rule number one yet. Change that real quick. Rule number two: invest in yourself. So one of the reasons I chose this game. It's because of a couple of things. This rule is a rule that I'm bad at. So if you're out there watching this and saying, what does this guy know? Or why are you telling us when you can go do it or whatever? Like you know it all and you're perfect. Like absolutely not. Investing in yourself is a rule I find extremely difficult. But I'm really good at investing in others and I'm poor at investing in myself. It's not that I don't ever invest in myself. There'll be scenarios I'll talk about coming up, but it's so this game takes advantage of a aspect in this rule I want to talk about, which is like here's the simple way of interpreting this rule, which is like you buy yourself good gear and you buy yourself the games you like and you set aside time for you to enjoy games, and it's all you doing things that are like A to B to C result in your enjoyment of games and you're getting better at games. I'll say that in the case of this game, like I'd been following Monster Hunter as a franchise for a long time, but this was clearly the place where you could jump into it and everyone was playing it. It was on a modern console instead of a handheld. There was like a lot going on there, but at the time I was like the little niggling thing in my head about like in the way that I'm bad at this was like I didn't want to spend the money on the game. But luckily in the clan I was in, there was somebody, Aphrodite4, who was like, I can get you a discount code. It'll knock it down to like $40-ish instead of $60. And I was like, okay. And then I spent the $40 on myself. But sometimes someone out there will help you, and maybe somebody out there can create a circumstance that you can invest in and say, with their help, you can invest in yourself. That doesn't always happen though. But the thing is, try and invest in yourself. When you try to invest in yourself and try to recognize circumstances that allow you to invest in yourself and overcome your reticence to do that. For example, about investing in yourself, it's like you can invest in things like tiny things. Like you could just invest in setting an alarm that reminds you to do something. I went ahead and set up an alarm that just says like, well, time to stream the 12 rules, and I'm like, or record that, but you know, and that little investment is paying off in that when it comes up, I go, oh yeah, it's time to do that. As it was, today I was enjoying Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is a game, you could say I invested in myself and did it. But when a game where I'm way more frequently investing in others and eventually had some good experiences where people invested in me would be like Destiny 2. Or in this game, in the game being shown, Monster Hunter World, similar things would happen. Like it was easy to invest in yourself in this game, and then have the dividend of when you played in a group, you were better off. So I'm probably sounding a little crazy here because I'm not being as concise and short as I'm meaning to say. This is because my little guide here, I'm kind of like jumping around in it, but I should go one at a time through my guide here. But it's just in Monster Hunter, the character you see me playing, and I'm playing it solo, is using a weapon that, while it works solo, because it's not like anything doesn't work solo, it is a horn that you play it and it buffs yourself and the party with any number of buffs. And I would wear gear that allowed me to heal others when I healed myself, and cure others of status effects when I cure myself, even if I didn't suffer from them. So a very interesting scenario of like investing in myself in this game paid dividends of investing in others. But still, the ratio was probably off, and at some point I eventually started investing in a more like combat focused, like I'm gonna bring a sword that will absolutely kill monsters. It has higher DPS and less buffing. Like, I just got into that. But that was a game where investing in myself allowed me to like mentally think like, oh, I'm investing in others. So there's little tricks you can pull like that. Destiny 2, it was easy to help people do whatever quest they're on all day long. It's just so simple. But investing in myself, I never sat down and learned to do PvP. And there was a player out there who was like, one day was like, I would like to help you, Griff. You're always helping other people. And his name was Suprast, S-U-P-R-A-S-T. And he had like just the right attitude about it, because he wasn't pushy, but he was insistent, which is like it's a very fine line, right? It's like sometimes those words are interchangeable. So and I took him up on it. It was like a thing I just don't normally do, and that, like, him investing in me allowed me to invest in me, and it was another opportunity of like, it wasn't just a raw simple thing of like, I'm gonna get better at it, you know. That was like kind of his story. He's like, I'm gonna get better at PvP, and he just kind of like grinded away at it, and then like with his help I was able to like catch up quite a bit of my like lost experience and time as far as PvP went, and I started practicing using games like Kovacs and stuff like that. So there are times in the past where I didn't need someone else to invest in me. Like I got a hold of I mean, you don't have to go this far, but I got a hold of a Street Fighter 2 arcade cabinet. You could just get a joystick for the point I'm making here. But I got a hold of the cabinet, and then every day I sat down and I practiced doing the Shoryuken in that game. Very, like, you know, somewhat precise, tricky-ish. It's not the trickiest thing in the world, but like some of the inputs are very easy, and that one was like, if you kind of screwed it up a little bit, you got other inputs in it. You need to do it right on demand in pressure scenarios. So it had a lot of little like mental tricks to it. But it's like, for a month I just practiced it, and then at the end of the month I was like, oh yeah, I can just do this whenever I want. It's not a big deal. But up until then, it was always like, yeah, I could do it, but yeah, it was always like, oh that move, fucking goddamn it, I can't do Shoryuken or whatever. Like, I meant to do it and I got hit or whatever. So you can learn to Shoryuken. You can learn to no scope. You just have to practice these things. You have to invest in yourself. Practice is probably the simplest form, going back to the original, of just invest in yourself. Go find the thing you want to practice. Research how you can practice it. You know, maybe you just have to. Some games you just have to play it because of scenarios. But some, you know, like you would say, getting better at PvP, a lot of what I was lacking in it was mechanical execution. And same thing with the Shoryuken. So there's ways to invest there. You could, you know, I could just put it in practice mode, or I could play Kovacs and learn to like scope, learn to no scope people, learn to Shoryuken and things. There are going to be things that are hard to invest in practice. Like just, there's some things where the practice is literally repetition and practice and experience. So you can't shortcut that stuff, but make that commitment. It's rule one. Number two, invest in yourself. So just realize that it's worth it to you. If you're like me, it's like, it's so much easier to help and invest and get started if you're helping anyone else. But if you're not like me, this rule might be a lot easier for you, and that's great because it is a big. It's up there. It's number two. Number one is commit. Number two, invest. So let's jump out of here. Let's keep it shorter this time. 10 minutes is about right. I like it. We'll do a little teaser. Next one up is going to be doing research with people and places that want the best for you. So that'll be great because it just ties in these rules. I'm really liking how they tie together. So for now, think about, like, is there something you've been denying yourself that you wouldn't deny your best friend or your wife or your significant other, however it works for you? If there's something you would do for them but you don't do it for yourself, go do it for yourself, and like, that's okay. All right, night.